Hello and welcome back to our channel. Just a little update on our camper and everything, what we're doing and the improvements and stuff that we've made. As you can see, we put up a shed over our camper to keep it out of the sun and all that. Also installed, well, I have one installed. I haven't put the other one up. I got a screen here, a screen goes in front, and then there'll be another screen in the back. Another thing that I did is I put in power, so we could plug the camper in. It's a 30 amp, and then there's just a regular 110 amp plug in there. There's going to be water pulled over here, and also there will be a concrete slab poured. But we have to do this in pieces, and this is what we could afford to do right now. So in the near future, hoping maybe by the beginning of next year, mid of next year, be able to get this concrete poured and get the water pulled in. But this is the situation of it now. Really wanted to get it. It's just been sitting in the yard. Really wanted to get it under under the shed and out of the weather, just to protect the roof and whatnot. These roofs will go bad if they just continue to sit outside. So I do inspect the roof and make sure everything's okay, but I really wanted this shed to keep it out of the weather. So that's currently the update on our situation. So as I was saying, we've put the roof up and plan on getting concrete poured and everything. Just wanted to do an update on, after owning this camper as long as we have, the problems we've had with it, and you've went along with us on the journey on all the upgrades and everything. Overall, it has been a very good camper. We've had a few little problems, like the jack. You know, the jack handle broke, and they handled that, and the solar power, it went out, but that had nothing to do with the manufacturer. It wasn't a installation defect, it was a defect in the actual solar panel itself, so I can't put that on SUNRAY. This little camper has went probably 8,000 miles. Let's see here. We took a trip to New Orleans. That was the first trip we ever took in it. We took a trip to our long trip out to Yellowstone, through
Texas.
Through 18 states. We went
Texas, New Mexico,
Oklahoma,
yeah,
Utah,
Missouri,
Colorado, North Dakota, South Dakota, Kansas, Missouri, Idaho, Kentucky,
Wyoming.
Yeah, that big huge loop. We also took it to the Florida Keys, and we plan on, like I said earlier, we
took it to Chattanooga.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Chattanooga trip. We also took it up to Chattanooga,
Tennessee, recently.
That was the first trip pulling it with the Highlander, and like I said, that the Highlander on this little camper done a really good job. I don't know. It's a 2016 Highlander. With the factory towing package and all that, you know, I had the video of putting the tow hitch and everything on it, and it done fantastic. I don't think I would want to use the Highlander on a long trip like we did out to Yellowstone, especially climbing those types of altitudes. I don't think I would want to use it if there was any chance of any type of snow or ice. The Highlander is front wheel drive, and we didn't have any kind of traction issues, but I really don't think it would be ideal to try to pull.
I really don't think it could climb that.
Yeah, in high elevations,
like 13,000 feet.
Yeah, I don't think that
above sea level.
Yeah, when we left Yellowstone and came over the Colorado Rockies, we went through the pass north of Cody and north of Yellowstone, and it was 13,000 feet and something. I don't think that the Highlander would have had the muster to get it over.
Yeah, because it's not designed for that.
When we went over the pass, even pulling it with my Tacoma, when we went over the pass, if it would have been any higher, well, as a matter of fact, I had already planned on the next pullover. When we crested it, I'd already decided that I'm fixing to pull over and put my truck in four-wheel drive low. With that type of altitude and those type of inclines, you know, the air's getting thinner, the motor's getting weaker, and seriously, I was fixing to stop at the next pullover and put my truck in four-wheel drive, and it just happened to be that the next pullover was at the very top with a big welcome center and all that, where you could look over and all that. But I don't think that the Highlander would have been able to do that. So next year we plan on going back to the Philippines, but the year after that we're going to make a trip up to Niagara Falls.
To the east.
When we go up to Niagara Falls, we plan on going up the Blue Ridge Parkway. So when we take that trip, we'll be taking my truck, and I have some stuff planned for my truck to help it be a better tow vehicle. You'll just have to wait and see that video. But as far as the camper and the performance on the camper, it's done everything we've asked it to do, and we have really pushed this camper. Most people are not going to pull this camper as far as we pulled it. The hubs and everything were amazing. The brakes were amazing. You know, everything's held up on it. The only thing we've actually had like break interior wise was the knobs on the doors. I really didn't like the way that they were put in, and I broke one of them, and then after that I just went ahead and changed them all. Y'all seen the video on that. So it's been a good camper.
So any maintenance that we need to keep?
Yeah, the maintenance and stuff you need to keep up on it. Check your wheel bearings. This thing does have greasable wheel bearings, so you know, before we really go on a long trip, I'll jack it up and spin the tires, you know, make sure there isn't any kind of bearing noise, you know, put some grease in it. Of course, you've seen the video, you know, it's getting that time of year, so it won't be too long and I'll be draining all the water. The way I winterize is a little bit different than a lot of people. A lot of people use the antifreeze stuff that you put in the tanks and everything, but the way this camper is actually designed and where the water lines and everything are, you can completely drain everything. You can drain all the tanks and drain all the lines. So, you know, I drain the freshwater tank, I drain all the lines go into the freshwater tank, all the lines go into the sinks, the interior and the one in the kitchen, and also the hot water heater has a drain, and I drain that drain also. And when I take the caps off to drain it, I literally leave the caps open. I'll take and put a little piece of cheesecloth over the end of the pipe and put a little rubber band on it where no critters can climb up into the pipes, but I leave them open all winter long. That way to absolutely let all the water out, and if there's any type of condensation or anything in the tank from it getting hot and cold and whatnot, that condensation can drain also. If I was in a higher altitude where it gets colder, I would probably use the antifreeze stuff, but we're far enough south that when it does freeze, it's not, you know, we don't have weeks and weeks and weeks and months of it being below freezing. We have a week, maybe 2 weeks, and that's it. So the winterizing I do is a little bit different. But as far as maintenance, it's dirty right now. It needs to be washed. I didn't wash it after we got back from our trip to Chattanooga, so it needs to be washed. And that's pretty much it. You know, like I said, it's been a good little camper.
So, last question. Having the camper for more than 2 years, do you think of keeping it or having it like replaced?
I plan on keeping it. If I were going to buy a camper now, they make a camper one size bigger than this, and it's a SUNRAY 149. It's 139 or 149. I can't remember which, but it's like an old style camper, like from the 50s. You know, the little like triangle shape or football shaped campers, like the little canned ham campers. And it actually has a bathroom on the inside and the kitchen's on the inside instead of and it also has a shower on the inside instead of the kitchen being on the outside. And it only weighs, I think, 300 pounds more. So if I had to do it over and was buying one now, I would buy that. But as far as a camper, I've been really happy with it.
Yeah, so I think so too. Because that camper, to be honest, is not that spacious. But we can still like have it for
if you're going to camp
for
to
a couple of years or what. I don't know.
If you're going to camp to get away and hike trails and explore like we did in Yellowstone and places like this camper is fantastic. But if you're going to live in the camper, or you're going to go to a campground and set up and just stay at the campground for 2 weeks and not leave the campground,
that camper is not for you.
This camper's not for you. This camper is a warm place to sleep, a cool place to sleep, a dry place to sleep, somewhere to cook a meal, and that's it.
That's all.
It's bare bones. It's nothing fancy. There's plenty of room in there for 2 adults and
a little child.
Well, once our daughter gets a little bit older, she'll go up into the loft, so that'll give us more room on the bottom. We're just a little bit afraid of her being up top above us, and the way the loft folds out, it folds out almost even with the bed. So if she rolled off in the middle of the night or something, she could possibly fall all the way to the floor instead of down on the other bed. So we're going to wait till she's 4 or 5 years old. The loft in it is good for 150 pounds. So if you had, 2 small kids, you had 2, 7-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 5 years old, you could put them up there and it would be fine. And if you just have one child, the loft's good till they get up to 150 pounds. So, like I said, this camper's not really a glamping camper. This camper's not designed, like I said, to park at a campsite for 2 weeks and not leave the campsite. That's not what this camper is really made for. This camper is made to pull somewhere and set up and get out and explore. Other
it's
than
just more on
when we went
a bed.
When we went to Yellowstone and everything,
Place to sleep.
We would leave out. We would cook breakfast and we would leave out in the morning around 9 o'clock or so, and we didn't come back to the camper until 6:30, 7 o'clock that night, cooked supper, hung around the campsite a little bit, and then went to bed by 9 o'clock or so. It's not somewhere that you want to just stay in campgrounds and stuff like that. That's not what this is designed for. But it worked out fantastic for us when we were in Yellowstone, because Yellowstone is like the oldest national park there is, and when the campsites were put in there, they were put in there in the 40s and 50s when campers were this size. So it was real easy to get in and out and around stuff like that with this camper, whereas, we watched people that had, 30-foot campers trying to get into these little tiny camp spots, and they were struggling, and, there was evidence where people had bumped the trees and stuff like that. And as far as getting it into little tight spaces and going, down dirt roads and stuff, we camped in a place, we camped in the national forest in Florida on our way back from the Florida Keys, and it was all, improved fire roads, so they were all dirt, and to get out to the campsite, it was, a dirt road with little washes and stuff. And with this camper being, higher up with the off-road tires and everything, it made doing that extremely easy. We didn't have any problems or anything like that. So, if you're going to buy this camper, you need to realize what you're getting into. It's not glorious. It's not fantastic.
It's not fancy.
This would not be the camper for somebody that's going to retire and travel the U.S. A single person that's going to retire and travel the U.S., this camper's perfectly fine. But if you're going to travel the U.S. and hit all the national parks and all that when you retire, and it's you and your wife, and you're going to be gone for 2 years, this is not the camper for you.
Yeah, it's not a camper for a long-term camping.
Towards the end of
or
our Yellowstone
long-term trip.
Towards the end of our Yellowstone trip, it started getting a bit cramped in there, and we camped for 30-something days. So by the end of the trip, it was getting a little tight, even not being in the camper all the time. Thankfully, when we went on that trip, it didn't rain on us, but twice. It rained on us twice. It rained on us one time when we were camping in Yellowstone, and it rained on us again on our way home. But it does fantastic for what it's made to do. Just don't get in your head that it's more than it is. And if you have that mindset, as I was talking about a while ago, this camper's fantastic. But like I said, you have to be in that mindset. This is a place to sleep, a place to get out of the rain if it's raining, a place to cook, and that's it. It's not a place to lounge around and, watch TV and kick back and relax and, put a bunch of chairs out and on and out and build a big campfire and have, your whole family around the campfire and all. This ain't the camper. Like I said, this is not the camper to just be stuck in a campground for 2 or 3 weeks.
So you want to wrap your video?
Yes, this is a mobile bed. It's mobile bed, mobile kitchen, mobile bathroom, and that's it. So long as you keep that in mind, this is a great camper. And I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I know the video is getting a little long. Thanks, like, and subscribe.